Hello, hello everyone! Welcome to another day of drawing. I hope you've had a wonderful day so far. I think we'll just continue with the same warm-up routine as we did last time. That seemed to work really well. Licksock Pokebati. Very nice to see you all here. So we will start out with 7 minutes of funnels. Afterwards we'll be doing some rough perspective. So I will set the timer for 7 minutes. Let me just do some funnels. Very nice. Hey Deadshot, welcome. Hey Fizzy, hey Pain. Nice of you to join us today. Alright, that was 7 minutes of funnels. Now we will go on to 7 minutes of rough perspective, which is the one with 1 point perspective. Alright, that was 20 minutes, or 7 minutes of, rough perspective. We'll now move on to the next lesson, the final lesson in this boxes lesson. Yes, organic perspective, riveting. Oh, geez. Well, doesn't this look like fun?
The last exercise for this lesson is called the organic perspective boxes. It's similar to the rotated boxes, except you don't have neighboring forms, so you just kind of have to wing it and try and rotate boxes arbitrarily in 3D space. You start off by drawing a line that kind of flows through space. So you want to think about this point of the line is closer to the viewer, and then it kind of goes back and around until it's further away. There's a lot of wobbling there. So this is closer, then it goes further away, and so on. And the reason that I want you to draw this line is because it kind of governs the flow of a lot of different boxes that you're drawing through space. So you'll start off with maybe small ones here, and I want you to be aware of the size differences that you're constructing, because when you have a lot of little forms like this, you want to, the brain kind of automatically assumes that they're the same size. So when you have very big boxes, it's not that the box itself is big. The brain interprets it as this box is very close to me, or if it's small, it's very far away. So you got a box there, and maybe you've got another. And of course, you'd be applying the ghosting method here, just like everywhere else. I'm not, because I don't have the time to do that on this video. So it's kind of a do as I say and not as I do kind of deal. So just like I mentioned with the rotated boxes, this exercise is meant to be difficult. It's not an easy thing to just arbitrarily rotate these forms in your head. The point of it is to start developing a mental model of 3D space in your brain. And gradually, as that develops, you'll find your intuitive sense of space will kind of become easier to use. So I'll do this one on purpose. So you'll notice that sometimes you end up in situations where your far plane, so let's say this is the near plane, and this is the far plane, meaning it's farther away from the viewer. This one, the far plane, is not meant to be bigger than the near plane. Like if you actually drew through the box, you'd see that this one is way larger than this one. That is technically incorrect, but you will run into those mistakes somewhat as you do this exercise, and that's completely normal. Of course, you want to strive towards not doing it, but the fact that it happens is no big shame. Another thing that I do want you to play with is having boxes that overlap. Because overlapping gives you a stronger sense of depth, that this object is in front of this other object. And also I want you to exaggerate scale as things get closer to the viewer. The last thing that I want to mention is that I don't want you to have foreshortening, that is the rate at which your parallel lines converge with one another, to be too dramatic. I don't want it to be too fast, because that tends to imply a very large scale. Like if you're looking up at a very tall building, let's say you're looking up at something like this. Across this two-dimensional distance here, you are getting a great deal of convergence, meaning the vanishing point is quite close, like up there maybe. This tells us that the scale of the object that you're looking at is probably very large. The vanishing point is close, therefore the distance that is infinity is so close that this object must be huge. Conversely, if it was just very minute, that tells us that this is actually, the foreshortening is limited. The vanishing point is probably somewhere like up here, and so it's a much more manageable and relatable size. So with these boxes, because we are showing so much depth through the size of the individual boxes, and how we can tell that there is a great deal of space because the faraway boxes are very tiny and the close-up boxes are very large, we don't want to have the same kind of convergence, because that'll throw our sense of scale way off. We want to keep our foreshortening rather shallow. Shallow meaning that the vanishing points are farther away, that the convergence is more limited. So this allows us to keep things more cohesive. If we have a lot of weird scale issues with like very large boxes far away and then smaller boxes close up, or boxes that feel like they're big in scale farther away, that throws things off, and it makes the viewer feel like something is wrong, but they can't quite put their finger on it. And so that's basically the gist of this exercise. It's just a bunch of free-floating boxes in space. They're not aligned to each other or anything, but they are following this kind of path, moving from farther away, where they're smaller, to closer. And so, of course, you fill this page up with multiple frames, and you do the same thing for however many pages I ask for in the homework section. And that's about it. Again, don't worry if you make mistakes on this. If you're having any trouble at all, and even if you're not, it's probably a good idea to move on to the 250 box challenge after you've completed this. But of course, as always, since this is the last exercise in this lesson, make sure that you get someone to critique your work, whether that's on the subreddit or on the Discord server. Have someone else look at it. Don't just work in a bubble. I know that sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating to have someone else look at your work, but if you've done this right at all, you've probably put in many, many, many hours of work into this. So it's worthwhile to make sure that you've been going about it correctly. And if you haven't, that's perfectly okay, as long as you get someone else to point it out to you, and that you know how to move forwards better and more efficiently and more effectively. So that's about it. I'll call this quits now. I hope that all the lesson video or exercise videos have helped clarify some points. As always, they are meant to be companions to the full lesson, so don't use these as an excuse not to read through all that material. And also make sure that you at least go through the instructions, the written instructions, every time before you're about to start the work, because otherwise, I mean, we're forgetful. We're only human. So we're going to make those mistakes. We're going to forget key pieces of information, and we don't want to end up wasting our time doing things wrong or doing things incorrectly. So come back to the videos, come back to the written instructions, refresh your memory frequently.
Alright, so another exercise where you're supposed to fail. Wait. One thing I didn't notice you pointed out was don't do foreshortening. Um, but I noticed he's doing a very slight foreshortening. Drawing. So a little bit of it. Because no foreshortening, I'm pretty sure that just means it's orthographic, meaning there's no vanishing points, everything is parallel. I don't think that's what he means. Yes, Bat Boy, that is correct. We draw random boxes on a line, making them bigger as they get closer.
Organic perspective. This is the last exercise of lesson 1, and it's a doozy. Like the rotated boxes, what I want most is for you to complete the recommended number of pages to the best of your current ability. No more, no less. We're not looking for you to impress anyone, but rather to face the challenges head on so they can start making you think and consider a new kind of spatial problem. While this exercise is very much about attempting to construct freely rotated boxes in 3D space, it also introduces you to a couple of compositional concepts. To start with, we are going to draw a frame as we did for many of our previous exercises. We're also going to draw a nice swoopy line as you can see here. Imagine this line moves from closer up to the viewer and pushes back into the scene, getting further away. You can also draw with more pressure initially to make it a heavier stroke close up and ease up as you move back. Alternatively, you may also want to draw it in the opposite direction, far away, starting light to close up and finishing with more pressure and weight. Just like this, with the heavier weight being closer and the thinner weight being farther away. All right. So next we're going to start with one box. For that box, find the corner that is going to be closest to the viewer and draw out each of the lines coming off that corner. Often this will result in a sort of Y shape with angles greater than 90 degrees between each line, resulting in something we call the Y method of constructing a box. But that's not really what's important. What matters here is that you're drawing one line belonging to each of the 3 sets of parallel lines that make up this box. Each line points to its own separate vanishing point. Here is each line goes towards its own vanishing point, and you make a Y method. Now with one line of each set drawn, we're going to add another to each line. As you're drawing this, think about how you want each set to converge and try to think about it in rough terms where the vanishing point is going to be for each set. This step effectively sets in stone where the vanishing point is going to be. It'll be where the 2 lines present of each set converge. Now we're not going to necessarily be super accurate to this as we move forwards, but it's what we're going to strive for. You'll notice that in my example, my estimations will be far from perfect. So you can see here, each new line converges towards the vanishing point of one of the first 3. It almost looks like a swastika. Almost. Finally, we finish at the last 3 lines for this box. The result is workable. The convergences are far from consistent, but the act of constructing this box has forced us to think about how these lines exist in sets, where each set shares one vanishing point. Keep in mind that the specific procedure we've used here isn't set in stone. It's about the concepts it highlights. At its core, a box is made up of 3 sets of parallel lines. How you come about putting those together is up to you. Here's the box. Looks all right. Now repeat the process many, many times over. Construct your boxes along the swoopy line you've made initially, specifically making the boxes that are closer larger and those far away smaller in order to convey depth of the scene. One other thing I want you to avoid is applying foreshortening that is too dramatic to any of these boxes, especially those farther behind. I explain the reason for that in these notes about foreshortening and conveying scale. I don't know if I'm supposed to read those, but here is an example of all the boxes. Um, I might have to read those tomorrow. The purpose of this exercise is to throw you into the deep end of the pool without having yet taught you to swim. By diving into this exercise, you're going to be forced to contend with freely rotating boxes in 3D space without any real grounding of how to deal with them. There's no concrete vanishing points that you're making out on the page, no neighboring forms to base things off. It's more guesswork than you'll have dealt with by this point. It's actually been the pattern we've followed, gradually stripping away our rules, forcing you to rely more and more on educated guesses and intuition. So expect to make a lot of mistakes. The point isn't to be able to nail this, but to get your gears turning as you start thinking about the fact that this is a kind of spatial problem you're facing, likely for the first time. We're exposing you to it because you likely wouldn't have really considered this sort of thing otherwise. So, like the last exercise, it doesn't really matter if your work comes out looking like this. What's important is that you strive for it, so you're forced to start thinking about how these forms can be rotated freely in 3D space. You will struggle with it, and you're meant to. When you're done, that'll mark the completion of this lesson. If you had any trouble at all, and be honest, you did, move on to the 250 box challenge next before you tackle lesson 2. And here's some homework. Let me look at this real quick. I don't know. No, I already read this. Okay, never mind. So,
Alright. Any questions, class? So this will be our last exercise in lesson 1, and then tomorrow we'll be starting the box challenge. Probably won't draw all the boxes in one sitting, but we'll at least go through the paper and then begin on it tomorrow. But today we're just focusing on this. Now it says 2 pages filled with this. But just so we aren't going way over time like we did the last couple of times, I'm gonna set a timer for 20 minutes, and then however long we've gotten, we'll just continue tomorrow. And let's find some nice music to listen to. Now, I was thinking during this exercise we could listen to some classical music, particularly by Chopin. Alright, that's quite a gloomy one to start out on. Here we go. Alright, that was 20 minutes. We'll continue this exercise tomorrow. Probably to some less stressful music. Anyways, it is now relaxing reward time. Time for some nice free drawing. Here is some smooth free drawing music. Alright, that was 30 minutes. Alright, you know what time it is. Art review time. Time to look at what everyone else did. Oh, someone drew their gamer room. Very cool. Do you have a tiger rug like that? That's pretty sick if you do. Oh, I like the night sky in the ceiling. Very nice touch. Oh, Fizzy, this is really impressive. Great teapot, yeah. Nice use of contrast of scale as well. This is a really nice composition. Well done. I could see this becoming a webcomic. I want to know what this little guy is up to. Very cool. Uh-oh, it's raining, caught in the rain. I'm guessing he has a flat tire and he has to go get new tires. Is that it? Very cool cloud. There's a little puddle with tadpoles in it over here. Very cute. Very nice. And poke you with the... Oh, this is the art prompt of a sunken ship. Very cool. Like the little skeleton guy. The captain who went down with his ship.
Yar, matey, we aren't gonna leave this ship, or...
Ooh, lots of stuff going on here. We got Bender's mom. We got a couple UFO stealing groceries. And a space dinosaur farting. Alright, very cool. And then I suppose that's just you chilling down there. Hmm. Oh no! Oh no, a tsunami! Oh, let's hope the whale can take him with it before the tsunami comes and overthrow. This feels like the plot of some Netflix series. Stranded on an island and a tidal wave is coming. Very cool. Here's what I did with this guy who's a bit pissed while he's rowing his boat. Some ducks in the background. And then we have a sock puppet here.
Well, I am a sock puppet.
Very good. And then there's this dog. Was very terrified of his owner here. I don't really like where this image is going, so I'm just gonna keep continuing on. Ooh, very good boxes. You see this box here? Remember that the furthest away corners are gonna have a shallower angle than the closer corners? Meaning this corner up here needs to be brought down a bit. So it's always gonna have a shallower angle on corners that are further away than the center corners. Otherwise, very cool, very good job. Exactly what it asked for. We got Batty with some scary. There's some Dexter level stuff, but with the guy from Spider-Man. I guess he's taken up a side hobby of being a villain now. Very cool. Nice. Oh, is he naked? Oh, he is naked under the apron. Oh, no. He likes to get up close and personal with his work. There's a lot of dots. I like how it starts with dots. Very nice. Again, with the sharper corners, the furthest away corners are gonna have a shallower angle than this inner corner. Just a rule of thumb. Ooh, very pretty. You're gonna fill this whole page out tomorrow, aren't you? Oh, this is adorable. Oh, I want this as a pet. I'll name him Jerry. Jerry the squirrel. We'll give him a cute little hat and he can go fight bad guys. Very cute. Uh-oh. I have no idea what I'm doing. You're doing a Coliseum and you're doing a very good job at it. Oh damn, he's got a gun. Oh damn, this isn't Roman times or what? Yo, he just fired at this guy. Very good. I will post my exercise from yesterday if anyone wants to enjoy it. Very good. This is exactly what was asked of you, so you completed the task perfectly. I think you fell into the trap that he talked about, which was that you kind of stopped foreshortening or rotating them. You're not rotating them enough. This one down here, very good rotation on it. But you're kind of just following the same line, right? Vanishing point is supposed to be a bit different. Anyways, very good job, son. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, a very good eye for copying reality. Very good. And finally we have Snoogans. Not finished, and this is a perfect deer. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, those are thorny. Oh, geez, he looks like he's in pain. Oh no, you need to draw why he's in pain. Maybe someone just this whole blank space. There needs to be something happening. This deer is about to get it. Ooh, I like the water on the... Ooh, a fairy. And a little mushroom. That's very cute. Little fishy. Very good job. You'll get a comfy Neko. Good job. Alright, well, that's it for today. I hope you all had a wonderful time drawing with me today. I know I enjoyed it very much. I hope you have a continued wonderful day. Bye bye!